This morning we are flying from Quito over the Andes to Coca, a provincial capital in the Amazon rainforest. The airport is the main access point for tourists headed into the Amazon. We drive through town and see a little slice of local life. At the boat dock, our motor canoe is waiting for us. We have a 2-hour boat ride down the Napo River. It's a gray day. I hope the rain holds off. It's wet enough with the spray. We pass some local women in dugout canoes. There are signs of habitation, structures, and livestock along the river. This looks like a clinic with a water ambulance and more motor canoes like ours. Hungry for foreign income, Ecuador's government has opened up areas along the Napo for oil exploration and drilling, in spite of outcry from environmentalists and local indigenous tribes. The oil workers live in these floating hotels and move along the river in these speedboats. Most of the riverbank does look pristine for now, but there might be an oil well hiding 100 yards off the river. We're as far as we can go on the Napo. We're transferring to smaller canoes for the last leg of the journey. Now we get the feeling that we're really in the Amazon. Our first critter sighting in the jungle, red howler monkeys. We come out of the waterway into a good-sized lake. No motors are allowed, so everything, guests, food, water, and supplies are paddled in. And there it is, La Selva Lodge, right on the lake. Our room's in the main building, and easy to find. I think we can make do with this. Especially the beautiful view of the lake. But the best part is the Maconia tree by our deck. The birds love the berries. So we get out our cameras, pull up our deck chairs, and shoot away. Our canoe is waiting for us for a cruise around the lake. The gray clouds made way for blue skies and a very pleasant late afternoon. If you look closely, there are 3 bats on the right side of the tree trunk. The anhinga has found a roost for the night. Recent studies indicate that the Watson doesn't just look prehistoric, it is. Genetic research indicates that the Watson is the last survivor of a bird line that branched off 64 million years ago, shortly after the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs. The golden light is fading around the lake. And the lights have come on at the lodge. It's time for dinner. One more activity tonight, the night walk, when all the creepy crawlies and other night creatures are out and about in the jungle. Having survived the night walk, this morning we're visiting the Pilchi community. This involves a canoe ride back to the Napo River. The Andes huddle together to warm up. The tree boa is probably sleeping off a big dinner. An ornate hawk eagle is looking for breakfast. At the Napo, we transfer to a motor canoe for the ride to the village. Near there is a clay lake where parrots go for some minerals to help them digest their diet of fruit and seeds. The Pilche are Quechua Indians that live in farms on this side of the river. This community center provides elementary education, a meeting hall, and a tourist center. Our hostess meets us at the river. We have some herbal tea at the tourist center. The elementary school is in session. The children may walk several miles daily to come to school. Some of them are shy, and some not so much. The teacher patiently answers all the questions. On the way back to the tourist center, we see a cacao tree, a source of chocolate. Our hostess points out bananas and a banana flower. These larvae of a palm weevil are a delicacy. Our guide says they taste like bacon. And with that, we retreat to the river. Across the river is Yansuni National Park, arguably the most biologically diverse spot on Earth. To appreciate this statement, let's compare the species counts in Yansuni with the United States, an area 1,000 times larger. Our guide cautions us to look for the small, immobile things. The mobile animals have already heard us and are headed away. As one would expect in a humid climate, the mushrooms and lichen come in many colors and shapes. The jungle is a sky of green and an ocean of brown. But every once in a while, something red breaks the pattern. While looking at the buttress roots on this tree, our guides got all excited over this seldom seen toad. It was only identified as a separate species in 2012. We retrace our water path and are back in the lake, headed to the lodge for lunch. This afternoon, on our way to another jungle walk, we stopped to watch the leafcutter ants. The ants harvest fresh leaves, flowers, and grass and take it to their colonies. There they use it to grow fungi, which they feed to their larvae. Next to humans, leafcutter ants form the largest and most complex animal society on Earth. A few minutes from the lodge, and we are in the heart of the jungle, with Leanna climbing on other plants trying to reach the sunlight. All kinds of creatures find their niche in the jungle ecosystem. Our guide Henry surveys a buttressed rooted giant. He's looking for the little things that make a home in the garden of plant life growing in the buttresses. More fungi, recycling the discarded and the fallen. The flower of the cockspur coral tree looks like a hummingbird. We drink the healthy juice of the acai berry. It's the fruit of the acai palm, which grows wild here. Henry, our guide, points excitedly to the muddy trail, jaguar. It's tough to top that, not without seeing the animal. And it's time to take our muddy boots back to the lodge. In the early morning, we're visiting the observation platform. From the top, we can see the activity in the jungle canopy. There's still a mist over the jungle when we arrive. The tree is loaded with bromeliads and other epiphytes. Then the show starts, a tamarin feeding on the cecropia tree's fruit. And there are small things to notice too, and a small bird just below the platform. More birds are starting to show up. The cecropia's Popular with the Araucari too. This little raptor is sitting in our tree not 10 feet away. About 9 o'clock, activity starts to slow down. Time to go. On the way back to the lodge, we find these strange bugs. They exude a waxy substance, and when a predator takes a bite, they get the wax. The pain from the bite of a bullet ant is said to be the same as a gunshot wound. We didn't test that. The grounds of the lodge are covered with bright tropical flowers. I think we'll spend the rest of the morning on our deck, bird watching. It's late afternoon, and there's time for one last canoe ride around the lake. There's a troop of squirrel monkeys scampering in the trees. They can move quite fast. They run along a branch and then leap to the next tree. They seem to have a highway of branches in the trees along the lake shore. Then periodically, they'll stop and yell at us. We need to squeeze in a few more bird pictures. We say goodbye to the prehistoric Watson.
Jay making all the noise in the violations. Jay.
Dan's been a great guide. He paddles us back to the lodge for our last dinner at La Salva. We wake up to a wet morning. Looks like we'll be getting a little wet on the way back to Coca. 3 hours later, we're approaching Coca. The rain let up, and we were well wrapped in ponchos, so we didn't get too wet. Then it's back to Coca Airport to fly to Quito, and from there to catch our flights home. Special thanks to Wolfgang for arranging another outstanding trip. And thanks to our fellow travelers and newfound friends for their wit and wisdom.